same answer. Now, this is a big company, all right? So one of the common mistakes in these larger companies, now, I can tell you as a salesman, I can tell you as an owner of a company that has hired sales reps, that one of the things that I was able to do for my sales staff to kind of pull their covers down, so when they were lying to me and telling me these leads weren't any good, I had the physical ability, okay, to get on the phone and close those leads. Basically letting them know, guess what, jackass? They are sales ready. And you know what? You're not capable of working here. Because salespeople will say, these leads suck. And marketing will say, bullshit, these leads are great. So here we are, we're talking to this company, and we asked them that question. And what they realized was they had a quasi-definition of sales ready, but they didn't have both parties on the same page, that they needed to get the marketing people and the salespeople together. Okay? It's one of the most common mistakes in these larger companies is they don't have, let's call this a company-wide definition of what a lead is. Okay? If it becomes a lead, then it's sales ready, right? An inquiry is not a lead. Let me give you another scenario, all right? I've told part of this story before. I happen to have an introduction to a company. They're massive. Online university here in the United States, big. The owner of the company is a multi-billionaire, all right? Tech company to boot, all right? A tech multi-billionaire. And the company that he owns that does this online education, I get on the phone with the CEO. All right, I'm doing the presentation to this guy. Just me, with the person who introduced me. And I asked him if he could tell me about his leads, and he's telling me that he's generating these leads and he's paying $2 a lead. Okay? But he has 100 leads to close the sale. Now, he's happy that he only has to pay $200, but the problem is using full commission sales reps, and it takes a month to go through 100 leads, and these guys are only making like $700 commissions. Now, my friend was on the phone, so I was very kind. I wasn't very harsh with him, but I asked him something to the effect of, are you not seeing what the problem is, or you just don't know how to fix it? Do you not see what your problem is? Or you see it and you don't know how to fix it? Because I just described to you a very commonplace situation. Companies either don't know how to fix it, or they don't even know they have the problem. They know their numbers aren't where they want them to be. Now, what makes this so ironic is that this company that sells online actually has marketing courses. I mean, it's crazy. These are business owners. They should know this stuff. They're teaching this stuff, or at least supposedly. Okay? So when we sit down with a company, one of the 5 misconceptions that we walk in the door with, we know these misconceptions you're making. We know we don't make these mistakes anymore. We know the 5 common misconceptions we once had, we no longer have. Okay? You need to make sure that you don't make these mistakes anymore. Okay? You assume companies know how to drive traffic. Not true. Not true. They know where the traffic came from. They know who they are and why they came. Not true. I've had major companies get their analytics guys on the phone, and I ask them the question, so where does all the traffic come from? Oh, it comes from Google search. Okay. Who are they? I don't know. Well, what keywords did they come from? They can tell me the key. So why did they come? Because I'm going to take a look at that keyword, and then I'm going to look at the messaging to see if there's a match. Even the companies that could somewhat answer this don't have a clue. So tell me, how can you close somebody if you don't know why they're at your website? Let's go back a second. If we're targeting a very specific profile, we know why they're coming to the website, don't we? Because there's only two things that generate interest. They have a problem that they no longer want, or they want a result that they don't have. And they see our value, our solution, delivering a solution. Our solution eliminating that problem or delivering that result. Now think about that. Do we know why? If you're not targeting, if you're not choosing who you advertise to, then you cannot know who they are. You cannot know why they are there. Now, if marketing starts before the product is created, meaning a product is created to serve a specific segment, right? To provide a solution to a problem or to provide a result, a solution that delivers a result, okay, for a very specific target audience, okay? All right, so we deeply please this particular target audience. If you're not targeting them, how could you even begin to know what the message should be? Now think about that. If you have every Tom, Dick, and Harry coming to your website, how do you know that the changes you're making are going to be to the prospects that you want as customers? How do you know you're not changing who you are to somehow close more casual, pleasing prospects instead of the ones you deeply please? Now, let me ask you another thing. Every company out there wants to create a good customer experience, right? Right? That's a common thing we hear. Like, don't just provide services, man. You got to deliver a great customer experience. Now, think about it. If I close prospect number one because he's casually pleased with what I offer, or prospect number two who I deeply please, which one is going to have the better customer experience? The one that I 75% satisfied or the one that I 100% satisfied? Now think about that as that feeds into lifetime customer value, doing business over a period of time. The easiest person to sell to is someone that you already sold to. There's no acquisition cost because they're already a client. There's already credibility, okay? And we already know who they are because we provided a solution that they're deeply pleased with. So we have a good idea of what else is going to deeply please them. So your whole back end is predicated on the first sale deeply pleasing. So let me ask you a question. Not only should your profile be the people that you make the most amount of money with, they should be the people that you deeply please. They should be the people that the product was built for. Now think about it. Let's go back a second. If you're a company and you don't know where they're coming from, who they are, or why they came, you created a product to solve a market's problem. You created a product to deliver a result that they don't have that they want. Think about that. You created that blue widget for a very specific market. And if you don't know who they are and why they came, how the hell do you know that the changes you might make to please those people, those anonymous people who come to your website, how do you know you're not making changes that move you even further away from reaching your true profit potential? Right? Let's say that the person you casually please has a marketplace of 1 million people, but the people you deeply please has a marketplace of 30 million people. Let's say the people you casually please not only have a small number of people in the marketplace, but they only have income levels of $80,000. But the people you deeply please have a economic means of $250,000. Now think about these things. Do you know how many companies we talk to that have absolutely no clue? Okay? And my apologies. I'll change that. Okay? The next thing is that you're under the impression that they can keep up with technology. The reason why I did this slide is I cannot tell you how many of our owners, people that I really didn't think would make this mistake, you're conceding all of your leverage. Okay? They do not know how to drive traffic. The ones that have traffic have no idea where the traffic came from. They have no idea who they are and why they came. Now, let me tell you, if you meet a company that knows all of that, why would they be talking to you? You can't deeply please them. They've already got this. Don't ask me how to close that guy. And I'll literally say to companies, why would you respond to our advertisement, go through our entire conversion funnel if you already have this? I don't understand. So I ask them a question, because I want them to see what has not been seen, or for them to understand something that they didn't understand before. I ask them a question because I want to create a vision in their head. I'll say, Jim, you see, I'm a complete stranger to you. If you want to answer my questions that you already have this, then I got to question why you would go through our entire funnel and then raise your hand and say that you wanted to talk to us. If you're under the impression that you're impressing us when it's not accurate that you can do this stuff, I mean, why engage in the call? Do you really have what you say you have? And if you have that traffic, then what is the problem? Because there is one more thing, and that is because they don't know where this comes from, because they don't know how to get it there to begin with. They never even get to the point of conversion. You have to have experience to be good at conversion. If you never get any traffic to your webpage, it's like saying, you know, I'm not very good at closing. Okay, well, what's your ratio? Well, I've never been out on more than 2 calls. So how could you say you're bad at closing when you've only been out on 2 sales calls? I mean, to me, that's not statistically significant. You don't have enough experience there to be able to, yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound good you're 0 for 2, but, you know, 2 sales calls. I mean, what are you going to learn from that? Now, if you had gone out on 30 sales calls and gone 0 for 30, and I would say, yeah, you're right, you don't know how to close. You see, if you don't know how to drive traffic, or you drive traffic and don't know where it comes from, and who they are and why they came, how the hell could you even have conversion experience? You're feeling around in the dark. Companies cannot keep up. They cannot keep up with their competitors, and they cannot keep up with their technology. It's passed them by. Now, they have a choice. Do I learn RTB as an example? Do I learn analytics? Do I learn how to build conversion funnels? Do we understand microsites and landing pages and tracking and autoresponders and all of these integrated pieces of software that need to work in conjunction? Or do I focus on building value? Because when you're competing against a company, all right, and I've said this a number of times, there are actually 5 competitors, right? Rival companies, substitutes, supplier buying power, consumer buying power, threat of entry. Let's just focus on rival, substitute, and consumers, okay? Meaning companies that you directly compete against. How do you beat them? Simple. Value. When you win in business, you win at value. If you're busy studying RTB, instead of developing out your value so that it's always going to have that high interest appeal and then nowhere else exclusivity, right? Only factors, you're going to struggle. Okay? You're going to struggle. Now, if you ask me, I'd rather be a great marketer with weak value than, weak value with great marketing skills. I'd rather have great value and great marketing skills than to have one or the other. You could be a great marketer but have crap value. You'll make sales. All right? You got plenty of people who have great value and bad marketing skills and they don't make any money. But if you had your choice, wouldn't you rather have high-quality value and have great marketing skills, great sales skills? All right? The idea of what you do when you walk into a company, this is the single best thing you can do, is know that they don't know how to drive traffic. They don't know how to track what traffic they are getting. And what I mean by tracking, I mean know where the traffic came from, who they are, and why they came. And if you don't know who they are and why they came, how are you going to craft a message that's going to make them sales ready? It's impossible. I mean, you can guess, and you'll get some people to raise their hand, but we're talking about reaching a company's true profit potential. So to go back to that case study I was talking about earlier, here I am talking to the CEO of a company, right? They're paying $2 a lead. He has no idea why he's struggling. He had no idea. Now, they were making sales off of those $2 leads, but the problem was he wasn't paying sales salaries. So those full commission salespeople who did close 1 out of 100, but it took a month to get there, were quitting on him left and right. So he spent 80% of his time, his personal time, building out the hiring process and the training process. So I said, well, you have to calculate that into acquisition because it's an ongoing cost. There's a cost to developing that lead. There's a cost to closing that lead. You have to factor that in. Is this really profitable? When it turned out, what he was getting was a generic lead that 5 other competitors got, 5 other rival companies got, right, simultaneous to them getting it, what I call jump ball leads. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Guys say to me, yeah, I get the lead via text, and I call the person like 10 seconds after I got it, and they're already on the phone with someone else. That's not a lead. I'm sorry, man, that's just not a lead. I see how that works for the lead gen company, but that's not a lead. That's an inquiry. You see, to me, a qualified sales lead means it fits your company's ideal profile. It meets your company's definition of sales ready. Okay? Companies cannot keep up with the technology. They either don't understand it or they see it. They see things like retargeting. They see things like tracking. They see things like analytics. They see things like microsites. And they don't know how to leverage it. They don't know how to utilize it. And the reason is because they're fist fighting with rivals and substitutes and consumers. If a consumer has buying power, they're asking for lower prices and they're asking for more levels of service, therefore driving up cost, therefore affecting profit. If they're asking for lower prices and more service, they're lowering price and they're increasing cost. Therefore, that's a double whammy. So how do they leverage consumer buying power? If they're not focused on the ideal customer profile and they're not focused on generating qualified sales leads that are sales ready, that are educated about the value proposition, okay, and whatever else is necessary for that company, then they're going to struggle. They're going to struggle to compete against consumer buying power. So I'm going to show you something. This is what we teach our owners here. Right? It's a little 5-step process. Right? We target a particular profile. We drive it to a funnel that speaks to that particular target profile. Right? We qualify that profile and qualify that it's sales ready. We go through a discovery process and we do a custom presentation. Let me walk you through it. Right? Now, believe me when I tell you, I know you guys are sitting there thinking, you know what, Tom, I don't want to specifically sell to a marketplace. I think that's a mistake. I think you need to pick a target. You need to customize your messaging, customize the funnel that speaks directly to them, not generic businesses. Okay? And you will find that you will get much greater response and you will develop better qualified leads. Okay? So we target a very specific profile, right? And we'll get into why and who and how, but I've covered a lot of this already, right? We talk about things like their true profit potential. We talk about capacity, right? We talk about their process of marketing. Are they committed to that? You know, there's things that we've targeted as to why certain companies are better than others, certain verticals, okay, are better than others. We drive them to a funnel. Now think about that funnel. In our case, we want to educate them about what? Value proposition, conversion funnels, qualified sales lead definitions, things like ideal customer profile, RTB, and how it delivers on that profile. Things like sales ready, what that means for their company, and how we do that within a conversion funnel. How we build microsites so that we can control thought sequence. We talk about friction, right? Why do we need friction in? Because friction increases quality. You don't remove all friction. So we go through all that. We educate them to the value that we bring, right? Because the value we bring is qualified sales leads. So when they come out of the funnel, they raise their hand and they say, I'd like to talk to you about this. So the first thing we do when we talk to them is we put them through a qualification process. Now, the funnel qualifies a lot of it. It qualifies the profile. It qualifies that they're sales ready. But we want to ask one or two questions just to make sure. Okay? So we qualify the profile. We ask a profile question. We qualify sales ready. We ask a sales ready question or two. Okay? And once we get that qualification process out of the way, then we go through discovery. And that qualification process, discovery process is the same conversation. That's the first call. And we discover things about their company, right? We are helping them see things they have not seen. We help them understand things that they didn't understand before. Let me give you an example. I got an email from one of our owners the other day. Just taking a client through the discovery process. The client took some of the suggestions and things that he was talking about and implemented them on his existing website and increased conversions. Just from the stuff he learned during discovery. Now, it's nothing more. The discovery process is to customize, to gain information that will allow you to give a custom presentation. So we're not talking to a law firm. We're talking specifically about all that exists within this law firm that we're talking to. So it's not a two-man law firm, and we're talking about having 5 offices. We're not talking about, things that don't apply. We're very relevant, right? We're talking about their specific problem that they don't want. We're talking about how our solution solves that specific problem. Okay? Now let me talk about the word custom. Talk about best practice. Go back to that example I gave you, that online school again, right? They were getting generics. You'd be surprised how many people call generic leads. Somebody wants to get information about a mortgage, and the lead gets handed out to 15 companies, 5 companies, 2 companies. Doesn't matter, man. That's not a lead. For them to call it a lead is disrespectful to what leads really are. Okay? So you want to develop a custom-made lead. That means you have to put them through a custom-made presentation. You have to put them through a customized funnel, right? We're not talking about generic information. We're talking about us specifically, our value proposition, what we can do for them, what solution we offer, right? So we develop that custom presentation from the information we discover during the discovery process. So we can develop a solution and present that solution. Now let's stop there for a second. All right? I'm going to call time out, and I want to just talk a little bit about that process. Okay? Now let's think about this logically. If I don't know you, and I don't know your situation, can I offer a solution? So I want to give you a scenario. You're not feeling well, right? You're getting headaches. You decide to go to a doctor. You get in the car. You drive all the way across town. You sit in the waiting room. You're in the waiting room for 45 minutes. He's running late. You finally get called in. He walks in the door. He whips out his pad. He writes out a prescription and turns around and walks out. Doesn't say shit to you. Just hands you a prescription. He's offering a solution. Did he do any sort of discovery? Did he do any examination? No. So how could they come up with a diagnosis and offer a solution if there's no discovery? You cannot sit down with a company. Now think about this for yourself personally. If I don't know who you are as a person, and I don't know your situation, how insulting is it for me to offer you advice? Okay? That's why I don't like to do the done-for-you stuff. Everyone's customized, man, and if you're not doing custom, you're making a major fucking mistake. Nobody gives a shit about how you can help the masses or how you can help everybody in their vertical. Who cares if you can help every married guy? Okay, just because I'm married doesn't mean you have my solution, jackass. I want to know how you can help Conway and Antonio. I want to know how you can help me. That's all anyone cares about. No one cares what you know until they know you care. How do you demonstrate you know you care? When guys go to the discovery process, I tell them, John, do you want me to just close my eyes and randomly pick a solution? I mean, is that what you want me to do? Or do you want me to actually dig in, get to know you, your current situation for all it's worth, so I can tell you, first off, whether or not I can help you? And if I can't, maybe I can offer advice on where you can go. But if I can, it's only going to be because I've determined through discovery. Now, I've gone to your website, I've shopped you, okay? I've done everything I could do. I've discovered everything I could discover outside of actually talking to you. So I need to go through this discovery process. You need me to go through this discovery process. Okay? So tell me, how can I help you if I don't discover what it is you're going through? How can I offer you a solution if I don't even know who you are, let alone what your situation is? Now, let's put some context in there. What if I were to turn around and say to a two-man company, well, listen, here's what I recommend you do. Just have your marketing department. I mean, you're standing there, and you're standing in front of the person who just said, well, your marketing department. You're looking at the marketing department. I don't have a marketing department, jackass. I got two people in the company, me and somebody else. So tell me, how the hell could your solution really be believed? I mean, how can I actually believe that you have a solution if you haven't taken 5 seconds to get to know me and 5 seconds to get to know my situation? Have you noticed you're selling me a hairbrush when I have no hair? Have you noticed you're offering shoes to a man who has no feet? Okay? We target them. We drive them through a funnel. Targeting is about the ideal customer profile. Driving them to a funnel is about creating a sales-ready lead. If we target the ideal customer profile and we make them sales-ready, we have a qualified sales lead. Now, a qualified sales lead is the closest we can possibly get to giving us the greatest likelihood of being profitable. Once they raise their hand after experiencing the funnel, okay, I'm going to confirm through a very short qualification process that I'm not talking to somebody that I shouldn't be talking to. Now, why do we qualify somebody? Why would we talk to somebody who's not sales ready? Because we're not going to be able to get frame control. We're not going to be the prize. We're going to be chasing the prize. And we don't want to be doing that. Okay? So then we qualify them and we confirm they fit the profile and they're sales ready. Okay? Let me just rewrite that. That'd be a little bit better. I apologize. Okay? Now we go through the discovery process. So that we can what? We can let them know we know who they are, we know their situation, and therefore I am qualified to offer a solution. If there's only two things that they're interested in, they have a problem they don't want, or they have a result that they want that they don't have. Let's say that they want a result that they don't have. I'm going to find out what that result is and why they don't have it, and whether or not it's reasonable to expect my solution to deliver that result. Now when I present and I offer my solution, I'm going to say to them, based on our discovery, both prior to speaking to you and speaking to you, here's my solution. And that solution is built off of everything we've done to this point. Now you have a better chance of closing that. Now, when I sit with a client, I take some facsimile of this, if not the exact thing. Okay? We want to target. We want to drive into a funnel. You want to qualify them. Okay? That they fit the profile, that they've been, that they are truly sales ready. And if they are, let's do a discovery process so that we can present solution. Okay? Now, I know a lot of you guys think, like, that takes forever. My funnel could be 3 days long, 4 days long. The qualification discovery process is the same conversation, and we're presenting 48 hours later. I can do these 5 steps in 5 days. I can do them in 7 days. We're not talking about 3 weeks or 5 weeks. We're talking about quickly. But here's the thing. If you don't do discovery as an example, you're not doing a custom presentation. Just because you what? You've targeted somebody? Look, your profile is going to be good, but it's not going to be customized to every individual. Okay? You want to offer a custom. You want to get granular. That's your advantage. Okay? That's your advantage. Now, we've worked with a lot of different companies. And in every instance, when we define for them what a qualified sales lead is, we've defined that we'll work with them to create an ideal customer profile, that we'll use technology that will target them and put the right message in front of them to drive them into a funnel that educates them and does everything necessary to meet their company's definition of sales ready. Okay? And that the lead they're going to get is not going to be an inquiry, but qualified. Can you see how that would give you a greater likelihood of being profitable and a greater likelihood of being very profitable? And the answer is inevitably yes. So let me ask you what you do for a living. What you do for a living is you help companies. Now, I would hope that you would not say companies, but specific companies, right? A particular vertical, right? I help IT companies. I help software companies. I help law practices. I help criminal attorney law practices, right? I help and give them a specific company reach their true profit potential by delivering qualified sales leads that are custom-made, targeted to their ideal customer profile, and they're sales ready. Let me show you how I do it. Why would you hire me? Because I help companies generate qualified leads that are custom-made for their company, that are targeted to their ideal customer profile, and have been deemed to be sales ready based on your company's universal lead definition. That's why you should hire me over a competitor. Now let me ask you something. Is that going to appeal to them in a high-interest way? Does it appeal to them to only talk to people that meet their ideal customer profile? Does it appeal to them to only talk to sales leads that have been educated about the value and are truly ready to start the sales process? Is that going to appeal to them in a high-interest way? Yes. Let's go back now. Is that going to be something they're going to get from other people? Do you know of anybody out there? So here's your exclusivity. How you do it is real-time bidding and funnels. Okay? Best practices. And I'm telling you right now, from the companies we've talked to at the highest levels down to the smallest companies, This is how it's done. This is how you do it. And I'll tell you something else. I don't care if you're doing content marketing. I don't care if you're doing social marketing. All of that work drives to a funnel. It drives to the doorstep of a funnel. Okay? That funnel is all about two things. It starts with the banner to the landing page, to the email messaging, to the content, right? It all does two things. It either states the value proposition or supports the value proposition. What does that mean? It states it so that you can understand it. It provides clarity. And it supports it by providing third-party proof so that the value proposition is believable. Why? Because the only reason people say yes is if they see the value is greater than the material and the mental cost. And the challenge for every company is to get them from where they are, their perception, to the reality that the value does outweigh, and that they can believe that the value outweighs the material and the mental cost. That's it, boys. That's it, girls. That's it. It's basic math, man. Basic, simple blocking and tackling. And every time we go through this, every time, this is what we're talking about. Qualified sales leads. Okay? All right. I saved it. Duncan has a question. Does the conversion nurturing phase still exist within your qualification process? Absolutely. That's a great question, by the way. And I didn't get into that, but let's go back and talk about the funnel for a second. We drive them into the funnel. And let's talk about the three levels of the funnel. Okay? Let me see if I can't find this real quick. Create a new slide so I can answer Duncan's question with a visual. Give me 1 second, boys and girls. I think I got enough of these things. Okay. Let me just create one more. All right. So there are three phases to our funnel, right? Awareness, consideration, preparation, and action. And before somebody could even prepare to buy, they have to start the consideration process. So Duncan's question is, do we still have conversion nurturing? At the top of the funnel, what lead nurturing is you're just educating them about making good, smart business decisions. Okay? Because remember what we said. People don't buy from websites. They buy from people. And you have to think in terms of a relationship, right? And you develop that relationship online the same way you do offline. You begin a conversation, right? And the trust is at the heart of all relationships. So those value exchanges, right? So the first thing they have to gain trust and faith in is that you're educating them for the sole purpose of helping them what? You have to lead them where they want to go. So that means make a good buying decision. Before that buying decision could be whether or not to choose you, they have to decide, do they buy from you, do they buy an alternative, or do they do nothing at all? They have to be educated to that. And that's where your value proposition comes in, right? We talk about primary, prospect, and product level. All three of those levels answer those questions in lead nurture. And guys, again, it's not like you have to go for days and weeks. What I want you to do is as you point out these important things, right, these relevant issues that the prospect needs to be aware of, simultaneous to that, you're going to demonstrate how you stack up against that. How cool is that? So even though you are lead nurturing, Duncan, right, by educating them about all the pitfalls, right, you're also defining what value is. By showing how you stack up, you're defining what the buying criteria is for a prospect who's shopping for what you offer, but whether it's from you or a competitor, a rival, or an alternative. Okay? So that top of this funnel is this, right? Lead nurture into conversion nurture. Does that make sense? All right? So of course, man, that stuff doesn't change. Now, go back to what I was saying. You drive them to a funnel, and how I structure my funnel at the top is to create awareness at the banner into the landing page, right? And to educate them from a lead nurturing standpoint first and foremost. And as they go deeper into my funnel, I utilize my conversion nurturing tactics. Okay? Does that make sense? Does everybody follow that? All right. I'm going to stick on this topic. Joanne and I have created in the knowledge base a new section for lead generation. And I want to show you some examples of some companies that we're working with. I'm not going to get into the specific pages and things like that, but we'll talk about industries. Okay? So how you can drive a funnel, how you can piece together a funnel. Sit down and figure out the ideal customer profile. So what we're going to talk about first is ideal customer profile and sales ready. And I'm going to give you some things that you can utilize to help determine a profile, help determine, not only for you, but for other companies. Right? I've already shown you guys the qualification stuff. The ideal customer profile for what we use for the owner program, and sales ready, what we determine what sales ready is. All right? But how do you apply that for the client that you're talking to? See, we get a little caught up sometimes. We talk about us because you're generating leads for yourself, and then we're talking about how do we generate leads. Now, I started in the beginning, and I said it doesn't matter whether you're doing this for a client or you're doing this for a client who has a sales force, or you're doing this for a client that is selling a product. Okay? And one of the campaigns that we have in our system that it's a particular toy, and it's funny when you sit down, you're thinking, all right, we're selling a specific product, but no, we're not. We're developing a relationship. Okay? We're developing a relationship, and then we're going to introduce the product. Okay? Nothing has changed. People have a problem that they don't want, or they have a result. Think of the word result could either be a change or an experience, right? In this particular case, they have an experience that they don't have that they want for their child. Now think about that. That's what's going to interest them. Okay? That's what's going to interest them. So the product was created to create an experience. You'll talk about that. And how you do it is no different than if you were generating a lead for this to go to a sales force. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to create a relationship. I've said this before, I'll say it again. There is no money in the list. I know we're building funnels. The money's not in the list. Just because you got names on a list. The money is in the relationship. We put them through a funnel so that we can develop that relationship. Right? And we do that because most consumers in today's internet world, they're jaded. Right? They get so many damn ads, so many damn messages sent their way, and there's a lot of crap that goes on. They don't know who to believe. So how do you create trust? Right? We take them one step at a time through a series of value exchanges where I promise something and then deliver on that promise. And then each and every time I can ask them to do a little bit more in order to get to the next value exchange. Now, why would they do that? Because the last value exchange they came through, and I did exactly what I said I would do. And when I do exactly what I promise, we build trust. Okay? Duncan, there is no dumb question. All right. Is conversion nurturing, in fact, the qualification, discovery, and customer presentation? No. This is the funnel. When we put somebody in the funnel, we're giving them information. We're putting information in their hands, okay? And it allows them to be in total control. The last thing we want to do is be talking to them. I know that sounds odd, but if we're talking to them about our value instead of giving them control, here's what happens. Duncan, if I give you the ability to opt in, you choose to opt in. Okay? Now, if you get the first email, you choose to read it. And at the bottom of that email, you choose to click the link to go to the content. And when you get to that page, you choose to consume that. Right? And every step of the way, you choose whether or not to stay. All right? You're in total control of the decision. Okay? The decision can continue. So let's say in the first email, I talk about the sky being blue, and you stick around. Second email, I talk about the grass being green. You stick around. Third email, I talk about water being wet. Okay? Two things have happened. You've been in charge of the decision-making process of staying or going, which means you're in charge. You decide. Okay? But in reality, you're also complying with what I say by not opting out. Right? Implied agreement. You agree the sky is blue. You agree the grass is green. You agree the water is wet. Okay? Stick